She thought she heard "now jump" and stepped off the edge. A simple language mix-up ended a young Dutch girl's life.
My name is Brandon. The victim is Bianca Devins.
Another, just 17, was murdered by someone she knew, and her final image was plastered across the internet for the world to see.
I'm so sorry that I put Bianca through this. I wish I could apologize to her and just apologize.
These weren't just senseless losses, they were broadcast tragedies. They show us how death, once private and sacred, can now be turned into spectacle in the blink of a scroll.
I was on Twitter, as I usually do, just to gauge what stories are trending that day, and I saw that Bianca's name was trending.
Brace yourself for death so disturbing, they went viral. Part 2. What happens when obsession, social media, and violence collide broadcast for the world to see? On July 14, 2019, 17-year-old Bianca Devins, a vibrant presence from Utica, New York, attended a concert in New York City with Brandon Clark, a man she'd met online. To Bianca, he was a friend, maybe more, maybe less. But for Clark, the lines between admiration and obsession had already blurred. After the show, an argument erupted over Bianca kissing another man. In a fit of jealousy and rage, Clark attacked her in his car, using a long knife to nearly decapitate her. But the horror didn't end there. Clark snapped photos of Bianca's lifeless body and posted them to Discord and Instagram, writing chilling captions like, "I'm sorry, Bianca," and taunting online communities.
I was on Twitter, as I usually do, just to gauge what stories are trending that day, and I saw that Bianca's name was trending.
The images spread like wildfire, shared, mocked, even celebrated in the darkest corners of the internet. Trolls sent the photos to Bianca's family, turning their grief into a living nightmare. As her loved ones scrambled to confirm if Bianca was even alive, her death was already viral content, consumed, dissected, and exploited for clicks. Police found Clark at the scene after he called 911 and attempted to take his own life.
My name is Brandon. The victim is Bianca Devins.
He survived, pleaded guilty, and was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison.
I hate myself for what I did. I'm so sorry that I put everyone through this. I'm so sorry that I put Bianca through this. I wish I could apologize to her and just apologize.
Did you all believe his apology? Did you think it was sincere at all?
No.
Not sincere. That's part of his story, is to play "oh, poor me." It's not about what he did to Bianca. It's all about him.
Yet the true damage lingers. For years, the images haunted Bianca's family, reappearing across social media. Her mother now fights for Bianca's law, demanding accountability from the platforms that let her daughter's final moments become internet spectacle. In the age of likes and shares, even death is no longer sacred. It's consumed, and it never disappears. It began with a friendly chat at a Laramie bar a night like any other. But for Matthew Shepard, it ended as one of the most haunting hate crimes in American history. On October 6, 1998, 21-year-old Matthew, an openly gay college student, accepted a ride home from two men, Aaron McKinney and Russell Henderson. Instead of safety, they drove him out past the city lights to a desolate field beneath the Wyoming sky. There, they robbed him, tied his small frame to a split-rail fence, and unleashed a savage beating, striking him in the head up to 21 times with the butt of a .357 Magnum pistol. They stole his wallet, his shoes, and left him alone, battered and unconscious, in the freezing night. 18 hours passed. At dawn, a cyclist spotted what he thought was a scarecrow on the fence. It was Matthew, barely alive, his face so bloodied that only the tracks of his tears were clean.
At 12:53 a.m. this morning, Matthew Shepard died.
I was devastated by Matthew's death. My soul ached.
Rushed to a hospital in Colorado, Matthew never woke up. 6 days later, with his parents by his side, he slipped away. The world recoiled at the cruelty. Candlelight vigils burned across continents. The image of Matthew tied to that fence, though never photographed, became a symbol, forcing America to confront the deadly cost of hate.
So, obviously, you don't like gay people.
Justice came. McKinney and Henderson received 2 consecutive life sentences each. But Matthew's legacy was just beginning. 11 years later, his name stood alongside another victim in Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act, a new law to fight violence born of prejudice.
Hate, prejudice, not American values.
Say hi, Mom.
It wasn't because Matt was special.
Matthew Shepard's story is more than a headline. It is a movement and a question that still echoes. How many more must suffer before hate ends? How does a vibrant young woman end up dead at the bottom of a garbage chute? Her final moments shrouded in mystery.
A young woman's body is found at the bottom of a garbage chute in a luxury Melbourne apartment complex.
On December 2nd, 2010, 24-year-old Phoebe Handsjuk was found lifeless in the refuse room of a luxury Melbourne tower. Her body lay near the compactor, foot nearly severed. The official story? She climbed into a 12th-floor garbage chute, feet first, and fell to her death. But the details raised chilling questions. Phoebe's blood alcohol level was 0.16, triple the legal limit, and her system contained a powerful sleeping pill.
When you were told that Phoebe had put herself into a garbage chute, what was your reaction to that?
I was devastated. I just couldn't believe it.
Experts say she shouldn't have been able to stand, let alone scale a chute opening over a meter off the floor. Yet authorities ruled it an accident, blaming confusion or sleepwalking. Inside her apartment, blood on a keyboard, shattered glass, and 2 untouched wine glasses, never fingerprinted. No prints were found on the chute door either. Security footage? Incomplete. Her boyfriend, a wealthy promoter with legal connections, claimed she was unstable. But her grandfather, a former detective, called it nonsense.
Ann Temple, her boyfriend, said to the police that night he thought that because of her depression and alcohol abuse that she had taken her own life. And that would have implanted itself quite heavily in the minds of the police who were there.
They tested the chute, even sober. It was nearly impossible to enter alone. Despite the coroner's ruling, online theories exploded. Murder, cover-up, conspiracy. For Phoebe's family, justice remains buried under official silence. Who put her in that chute? Some truths, it seems, are still rotting in the dark. She joined the army to serve her country, but found danger not on the battlefield, but within her own base. On April 22, 2020, 20-year-old Specialist Vanessa Guillén vanished from Fort Hood, Texas. Her keys, wallet, and ID were found in the armory where she worked, but Vanessa was gone. For over 2 agonizing months, her family pleaded for answers, confronting silence and red tape.
Porque si Dios no lo quiera, mi hija aparece muerta, cierra esta base.
But the truth, when it emerged, was even more horrifying than they feared. Vanessa had confided in her family that she was being sexually harassed by a superior. She never filed a formal complaint. She was afraid, and the system offered no protection. Then came the gruesome discovery: dismembered remains encased in concrete near the Leon River. It was Vanessa.
But there was a lock of hair that was sticking out that looked human.
The killer? Fellow soldier Aaron David Robinson. As police closed in, he shot himself. His accomplice, Cecily Aguilar, helped him mutilate and bury Vanessa's body. She was later sentenced to 30 years in prison, the maximum penalty for her role in the cover-up.
We are hoping that this sentencing will bring some sense of relief and some sense of justice to the Guillén family, who's waited so long to have this moment.
But Vanessa's death did more than expose a brutal crime. It ripped the mask off a broken system. Fort Hood's leadership was condemned for ignoring abuse and failing to protect its own. Hashtag I am Vanessa Guillén exploded across social media as survivors everywhere broke their silence.
This is not a Republican, Democratic issue. This is not a race issue. This is a human issue, so it should be everyone's issue.
Vanessa's voice was stolen. But in death, she became a symbol, a spark that ignited a movement, forcing the military to reckon with its failures.
This is going to be an all-hands-on-deck effort under my administration to end the scourge of sexual assault in the military.
The internet made sure no one could look away. Vanessa Guillén's tragedy was not just personal, it was systemic, and the world demanded justice. It was supposed to be a night of laughter and wine, a sleepover with fellow football moms in Cumming, Georgia. But by morning, Tamla Horsford, the only black woman at the party, was dead. On November 4th, 2018, Tamla was found face down in the backyard, 14 feet below a second-story balcony. The official story? She'd had too much to drink, went out for a smoke, and fell.
The father of a Forsyth County woman who died at a house party says his family does not believe the sheriff's office conclusion that her death was an accident.
But the evidence painted a more disturbing picture. Tamla's body bore a broken neck, a dislocated wrist, blunt force trauma, and cuts on her face and legs. Injuries her family's independent autopsy called inconsistent with a simple fall.
The state of Georgia medical examiner has ruled the death accidental and consistent with a fall.
Her blood alcohol level was nearly 3 times the legal limit, and traces of marijuana and Xanax were found in her system. Yet the balcony's railing stood solid, waist high. None of the guests claimed to hear a scream, a struggle, or even the fatal fall. The investigation raised more questions than answers. Witness statements conflicted. Evidence went missing. There were no photographs taken during Tamla's autopsy, an omission her family's attorney called unheard of. Some text messages were deleted and key details slipped through the cracks. Online outrage exploded. Justice for Tamla swept social media as the public demanded to know how a woman could die in a house full of people, and no one saw or heard a thing. Was it a tragic accident or something far more sinister? For Tamla's family and thousands following her story, the silence from that night still echoes louder than any answer ever given. She stood trembling at the edge, 130 feet above the abyss, heart racing, adrenaline spiking. In August 2015, 17-year-old Vera Mall prepared to bungee jump off a bridge in northern Spain. Her instructor, speaking broken English, shouted, "No jump!" But Vera heard "now jump." She leapt. The cord was tied to her ankles, but not to the bridge. She fell to her death. Vera was underage. Her ID was never checked. No parental consent. The bridge wasn't even approved for bungee jumping. Every safeguard failed, and one misunderstood word sealed her fate. Her story went viral, a haunting reminder. One word can cost a life. The internet never forgets. For better or worse, these disturbing deaths have been replayed, dissected, and debated across every platform imaginable. But behind the shock factor were real people, real pain, real loss. Should we be watching? Or should we be asking why we can't look away? If this episode shook you, hit like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more deep dives like this. More shocking and emotional stories are coming soon. Thank you for watching.